You're also known as Duck Corella.
I refuse to answer on the grounds of main intent to
You
criminate.
got any business?
I refuse to answer on the grounds of intent to criminate.
You have any profession?
I refuse to answer on the grounds of main
You
intent
have
to
any
criminate.
occupation?
I refuse to answer on the grounds of main intent
Are
to
you a
criminate.
known racketeer?
I refuse to answer on the grounds of main intent to criminate.
Officer named Winkleman of the Elizabeth
Do you ever
Police.
get any money from Costello?
No.
And did you ever get any money from Meyer Lansky?
I never got money from any of those fellas.
None of those
None
fellas?
of those fellas. None of these
except
that I've
for
been reading about, or none that I knew. They never gave me anything.
None of the Fichettes?
No.
You
I
did-
don't even speak to the. I mean, I met that Charlie once or twice. I don't even talk to him.
You don't like him?
No.
Good evening, folks. Welcome to the Smoke Show, our Sunday night show on culinary's finest, I might say. Well, we've got some interesting dishes tonight. We got smoked baby back ribs. We've got smoked pork ribs, smoked meatball sliders by Jason, and we're going to go over some homemade dog food from Ed Farmer from X. This guy, in a conversation I had with him, I want to say for about less than $200, he can feed 3 or 4 dogs on this recipe that we're going to look at. And it's probably better for than kibble and the regular dog food that you would buy in the store. But Big Ron, you had a comment about that in the DMs. Are you not happy with going over dog food? Okay, he's so angry, won't even speak about it. Jason, are you as angry about it as well?
No, not at all. I'm not angry at all. It's a good idea. We used to feed.
I know I buy.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I'm all into feeding your dogs natural food. I think it prolongs their life and just makes them healthier.
Well, on the economic part of that, I know I spend more than $300 a month to feed my one dog with kibble you buy from the store. So it sounds like it's cost effective and healthier for your dog too. But it's interesting. I got a short video made to put together about it. Ed will be here. He's just going to be a little bit late. But let's welcome Vet LT3. In fact, folks, we got Big Ron tonight. Jason, of course, we just in a conversation. Vet LT3. And we're going to have probably a couple others jump in here before the hour's up. But welcome, Vet.
Welcome. Thank you. How you guys doing today?
Not doing bad for a Labor Day weekend that is not really a holiday for me. Did we lose Big Ron? Big Ron, are you back with us or what? Well, I guess not. Let's go to our first video. We're going to do meatball sliders until Big Ron can fix his audio. And then, Vet, I've got your smoked ribs from last week. I want you to go over that with us.
Test.
We got you back. All right. I was going to go with the smoked baby back ribs first, Big Ron. Are you ready to do that?
Yeah, we can do that real quick.
Okay. Tell me, what's the difference in a baby back rib and a regular rib? Do you know?
Mostly it's the cut and where it comes from. Spare ribs are going to be a bigger section from, I think, the topper part of the pig, versus a baby back's a little bit farther down the rib and it's trimmed up a lot better.
Actually, I think it's opposite. I think baby back are closer to the higher on the
Backwards
rib, and the spare rib are lower on the rib. Yeah, because the spare rib will also come, if it's beef, you'll get pieces of that brisket in there because that's where it's connected. We got Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne showed up. Nice. Well, let's go to some smoked baby back ribs. This is a submission by Big Ron. Yeah, I want to pause it here and ask a question. So we got our baby back ribs, apple cider vinegar, all the dry ingredients that you put on it. But you mentioned a barbecue sauce. Do you have a barbecue sauce you prefer, or just whatever individual barbecue sauce whoever's preparing them would like?
It's going to be up to your individual taste of whatever one you prefer. I did get turned on to a current barbecue sauce that we're using to do a lot of our ribs like that, and it is called Meat Mitch barbecue sauce. It's actually very, very good. Got a little bit of a spice to it, not too sweet, and it caramelizes really, really well.
Very good. But in this recipe, whatever barbecue sauce you enjoy, it would be fine, right?
Yep, whatever you want.
Well, let's continue. Tell us about that Everglades, that green bottle there.
So the Everglades seasoning, I kind of put that on everything. It's like Frank's hot sauce. It's an all-purpose seasoning. You got to be careful though, because if you go too heavy with it, it can be overpowering. It's got a wee bit of MSG in it, which really helps bring out a lot of those flavors. But I find it works really well in a lot of the stuff that I cook.
What would you say the flavor profile is?
I guess it's like any other all-purpose salt, pepper, garlic, onion powder. But the MSG just gives it that kind of little bit of a flavor. It's kind of hard to explain what MSG tastes like, but it highlights the food.
I believe it's a flavor enhancer. One time people thought it was bad, but they've determined since that it's just tasty. Nothing bad about it.
It's
so
where
that's
you get your savory from.
That's a local product you're getting there. Everglades, only available in Florida. Could you get it anywhere else?
I don't know if you can get it anywhere else. I never really looked. I get it at Publix because Publix is the best. So that's where I pick up my Everglades seasoning at. I'm not above sending people some if they want to try it. Just hit me up and I will send you some.
Sounds good. I've just noticed it's been in most of your recipes, kind of like your salt and pepper. Here we go.
I do have a spicier one they have. It's called Cactus Dust by the same people, and it's got a bit of a kick.
So we got our baby back ribs here, and we're going to take that silver lining off. You want to explain that a little bit for those that may not
Got to
know?
get that silver lining off. A lot of people don't realize that silver lining stops the smoke from penetrating. It also gives the ribs kind of a funky texture and a funky flavor when you're eating them. So no matter if you're going to barbecue them, if you're gonna smoke them, make sure you pull that layer off. And that goes for any kind of a rib, or whether that's pork, beef, deer or whatever. Make sure you peel that off. You do that. You want to do that for your briskets too. I try to pull that off of one side. If you're not going to take the fat all the way down, I make sure I get that silver layer off.
Yeah, and I think the proper term is silver skin, I think is what it's called. Okay, and there it is happening. Okay, so we're gonna put just the dry rub. Which dry rub? I'm putting all dry rubs on it?
So for the pork ribs, I use strictly the Boar's Night Out, a couple of pinches of the Everglades seasoning and apple cider vinegar, not too much. Put them in a vacuum bag and I put them in the fridge overnight. Now the beef ribs, I didn't use that on.
Well, I didn't have any recipe on the beef ribs, so I've edited those out. But let's just talk about the baby back. So this is the night before. You put the Boar's Night Out on it.
Yep.
You put all the Everglade and all the other seasonings on it as well.
Not actually on the ribs. I mixed them in with the apple cider vinegar in the bag, and then sealed it overnight. And then the next morning when I pulled them out, then I seasoned them.
So there they are. The apple cider vinegar inside that bag with them. Refrigerate overnight to marinate, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we're gonna remove it. You let it come to room temperature.
Of course.
And then you're gonna apply the seasonings again.
Yep.
Once they come out of the bag, right?
Yeah, once they come out of the bag, seasonings on both sides, Boar's Night Out, Everglades seasoning.
Okay. So we're going to try to get our temperature around 180 degrees on our smoker.
Yeah, 170, 190, somewhere in that frame. Not too hot, not too cool. They take smoke pretty quick, especially with that silver skin off. And then I brought them up to 225 and let them cook the rest of the way. And then threw some sauce at them, and these things were literally falling off the bone as I pulled them out of the smoker. There was no need to boil them like they do at restaurants.
Okay, so 4 hours at 180-ish, and then you're going to finish them out at 225.
Yes.
All right, so we're going to cook them, remove them from the heat, and let rest for about 30 minutes, and then cut and enjoy. That's the dish, huh?
That is the dish. That's what she wanted for her birthday, so that's what she got.
Well, absolutely. Who could go wrong with it? Those do look good.
Yeah, they came out phenomenal.
Good color. Looks like they've got a good caramelization on the outside. Like they're probably pretty tasty.
They were definitely tasty. And I couldn't cut them because they were falling apart so bad. I basically just had to peel them apart.
That might be actually a little less time on the heat to keep them a bit more firm.
Yes, I agree. But that's how she likes them. Her birthday, I did it the way she wanted it.
Well, 100%. Nobody's arguing that.
By God.
Vet, what do you think about those? Okay, Bruce,
Well,
what do
I
you think about them?
uh,
Nope, go ahead, Vet, if you're there.
Yeah, sorry. Still doing privacy fence while I'm doing the show as well. Sorry about that. The honeydew list never stops. So anyway, yeah, I'm sorry, Ron. That looks great, man. Yeah, people always forget. I know a lot of people that try to smoke or barbecue ribs, and they forget to take that film off. And people were like, "Oh, why is it this way or that way?" It's like, well, you didn't do it properly. So, but yeah. Oh, and the MSG. Yeah, I remember growing up back in the 80s and 90s where everybody was like, "Oh, it's terrible for you," but it's really not. But it looks phenomenal, and you better do it the way your wife wanted to, or you were going to be in big trouble. So, but no, it looks fantastic, brother. I definitely would have me some.
I notice you do a lot of ribs, Vet. That maybe that's a recipe you could give a shot and see what you think about it in real time instead of looking at pictures, huh?
Oh yeah, no, I'm definitely gonna steal a little bit. My wife says my ribs are my number one. So yeah, no, I'm definitely loving the beef ribs, and I will definitely take some from it.
Nice. Bruce Wayne, what do you think about those baby backs?
Oh, those look fantastic. And yeah, that's good about the silver skin because, like Vet was saying, some people leave them on and then you end up having to chew around it, and it just doesn't make for a good eating experience. So yeah, no, that looks perfect. And yeah, the dangerous thing about MSG that you got to look out for is it turns off that sensor in your stomach that tells you you're full, so you can just probably eat one of those whole ribs yourself. Because I think I could. That looks perfect.
Well, I don't know if that'd be a pro or con if the food's good, but yeah. MSG used to be a lot in Chinese food, but maybe not in all-you-can-eat buffet because that'd be difficult to keep up on the price point.
It's definitely a pro to eat that to eat those ribs for the stomach to be like, you need some more. Yes, I do need some more.
Jason, what do you think about those? You ever seen any ribs like that in Minnesota?
You know, you kind of inspired me. I've been doing the 3-2-1 method and wrapping for the last 5 years, and it's been a long time since I've not wrapped a rib, and those turned out really good. And I kind of want to go back to the way I used to do it, which was what Ron just did there without the wrap and just smoke it. Nice job, Ron. They look great. And question on MSG for Joe: didn't they used to cut cocaine with MSG?
Man, I'm not sure. I've seen it cut with baking powder.
Because we were doing warrants.
Well, I know they cut the meth with it's not MSG. It's a like MSM, I think is what it is. But it's you put it in horse feed for horses' joints. It's something by the feed store, but it looks just like little shards of methamphetamine.
Yeah,
well, if they did, that explains the 80s and the 90s for sure. If they did that,
I think they did because we do warrants and we'd find bottles of MSG around. Just a side note, that those three little letters just kind of sparked a memory of mine that I think they used to cut cocaine with MSG to add weight to it. Anyway, I digress.
No, very, very well could have. I've seen it stepped on with baking powder was the common theme around here, but really it's not a good cut. If you're a real cocaine guy, you don't want powdery. You want that stuff to look like pool chalk. It's hard. It's less likely it's been stepped on. Although I know some methods where they can crush it down, mix it up, add the cut to it, and then reform it back up with a little moisture, and it'll still be chunky and hard. But either way, I'll have to look into that. I don't recall MSG in particular. I know that MSM was a very popular cut for methamphetamine, but cocaine, it seems, the only thing I can really recall is baking powder. Big Ron, when you were cutting cocaine and moving it up from Colombia, what was your favorite cut?
Yeah, I like how we just segued straight from Ron's ribs into drugs.
Well, yeah, I know, and
Although
then it
those
fell
ribs
off.
do look addictive. Those ribs may be more addictive than cocaine.
I
I
like
don't.
using the MSG when I did my coke because it makes people come back for more. It's like an all-you-can-eat buffet.
Well,
Oh,
I think
and
cocaine
Jeez.
has the same properties without the cut. I think it has keeps you coming back for more.
by the way, Ron, I found your Everglade stuff on Amazon. I'm gonna order a bottle, but you brought it up quite a bit. I want to try it.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
may
it,
have to
it
pick that
really
up.
is good.
What's in them? What flavor does that add?
Pretty much MSG. That's what we've determined.
Yumminess.
Is it peppery heavy or
No, not at all. There's actually two of the ones that I use. One is called Everglade Seasoning, which is basically an all-purpose, like I was saying earlier. Um, and it's trying to read the ingredients here. Salt, spices, MSG, garlic, onion, sugar, and papium. Not sure what that is. Nor am I sure what the other ingredients are. Then I have another one called Everglades Heat, which is a little bit spicier. Salt, pepper, spices, uh, dehydrated garlic, onions, uh, turin, yeast.
okay? So nice savory
Yeah,
all around
it's really
finish.
good.
Man, get you a bottle off Amazon and
Well, I just
taste
see
it yourself and just see.
Amazon got a 5-pack. They got the Everglade Heat, just a plain seasoning. They got something called Cactus Dust,
Yeah,
something
cactus
for
dust is pretty
fish
good
and
too.
chicken, and then
Now the Everglades Heat doesn't have MSG in it. Just keep that in mind.
well, I'm not. I don't actually cook with MSG. I might have to, given how you're talking it up, but I wouldn't mind not having it in. But yeah, I might have to pick up this 5-pack to do some
But
playing around.
you guys should pick it up and use it, and we'll give it a real review. Right now, Big Ron's saying it just because it hails from his state. When I think of swamp and I think of the Everglades, I don't think of savory flavor
Yeah.
or maybe the smells. Maybe the smells would turn my appetite off. But I'm curious. You guys give it a shot. Let's see it.
And
So,
I'm kind of curious to use it on some gator tail now.
see, I'm not a big fan of alligator. Alligator tastes like fishy chicken to me.
Yeah, stringy
What?
chicken.
Oh
Dry
my
stringy
God.
chicken.
Okay, you and I are going to have a long talk. It tastes nothing like that. Not even a little bit. Nor does it taste
Yeah,
like
you can talk to you blue in the face. You're not going to convince me it didn't taste like what I thought it tasted like when I tasted it.
No,
It-
I think it tastes a lot like clam strips when it's barbecue when it's grilled correctly.
I want to go gator hunting, or fishing or whatever you call it, and I want to go try some iguana because I hear you guys eat that down there because it's an invasive species.
I've never had iguana.
I
Do y'all eat
imagine it
those
tastes.
herpetized monkeys that are running loose in North
Yeah,
Florida?
you got those
No.
STD monkeys down there.
That only the people from the north do that when they check into um, the villages. They get those herpes monkeys going.
You're talking North
Only in
Florida, right?
Florida. Yeah, only
Central
in
Florida.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
do you have herpes monkeys in Minnesota? We don't have them in Texas.
No, there's no herpes monkey in Minnesota.
Just monkeypox, right? I hear that's running rampant up there.
Yeah, that is serious. We shouldn't be joking about it. Any one of us could get it at any time.
That's impossible.
Yeah, I think I'm safe.
Yeah,
I'll be
That's
safe. from that.
100% impossible.
No mask needed. I'll be safe. Well, let's. I tell you what, Vet. Let's go into your ribs from last week. We'll do 2 ribs back to back. That was smoked baby back ribs by Ron, and this is smoked ribs by Vet LT3. Yes, folks, this was scheduled for last weekend, episode 9. All right, let's put a pause. This is the first time I've seen mustard in any one of our smokes. So tell me, what is it? Just yellow mustard that you use, Vet?
Yes, just regular yellow mustard. My wife made the suggestion. She was like wanting to use that as a binding agent, and so yeah, we I tried it for the first time, and to be honest, it worked very well.
Okay, I've heard of it. I've never actually used mustard myself, but I've heard that it's good for briskets as well as a binding agent. So let's see how this turned out.
I actually used it on the brisket that I just did.
Look at that cutting board. Where'd that come from?
That looks long enough to fit his ribs.
There's the mustard. You just squirt it on, right? And spread it around. I'll take that as a yes. Yep, I was right. Spreading it around. Looks like a pretty thin layer. How much of this you putting on, Bet?
I'm putting on a nice, I don't want to say not too thick, but a nice fine coat of the mustard, just so it can grab onto the seasoning and everything and really hold on and bind into it. I wasn't heavy with it, but I wasn't light either. It's that nice middle ground where you can still see the meat of the ribs and the yellow. You know, you don't want to just look at yellow
So
mustard.
just give
on
the
top
meat
of the steak,
a
like
yellow
some
tint.
people do.
All right, so let's go. We had salt and pepper. Now this is Kinder's brown sugar rub. Is that what that is?
Yeah, I used. I think I used my Kinder's garlic and also brown sugar. I gotta say, I love their brown sugar rub. It does add a nice little. It helps with the bark when you're smoking, but definitely use the Kinder's garlic seasoning and put
Okay,
that
so
on
that's
there.
Kinder's brown sugar.
Uh,
I'm trying to get one at a time. So it's Kinder's brown sugar there for you. And the next one, I'll try to pause it so we can see what that is. Now that is wood-fired garlic. Have you used that
Still
before?
like it.
Oh, the wood fired garlic is so good. Oh my
So
goodness.
good.
Kinder's does not make a rub that is not fantastic. I just want to say that right now. Not sponsored, not anything, but God bless they do
Wood
make
fire
a good
garlic.
seasoning.
So what are you going to put that up against Meat Church? Get out of here.
I
Get
would
out of here.
actually.
All right,
No,
let's see.
no.
Here we go.
I'm more
There goes the
for-
wood-fired garlic on the meat.
And I do apologize if I get anything incorrect. It has been a few weeks, and even though it might not be on the smoke show, we do smoke. Well, I know I do every weekend, so it's kind of hard. I'm loving these episodes because at least I can go back to them and know how I made the things I've made before. So I love these shows, man, because I'm like, how did I make that last time? And I just go back and watch them again.
Well, just
Well,
real quick,
guys,
Joe.
I'm trying to put these together so if anybody wanted to duplicate this, they could watch the video and have ingredients and instructions and all the keys to success in there, so someone could watch this and recreate it. So we got a
Just
fire
real
going.
quick,
Go
real
ahead.
quick, Joe, before you unpause and keep going. Vet, what ratio do you use? Do you do about 50-50 of the two different rubs, or how do you balance that?
Yes. I 50-50, equal amounts of both, and throw it on there. I don't. The only thing I do a 1/3 ratio on is when, like here lately, I've been experimenting with mixing woods. I've done a lot of apple and hickory mix. I don't really mix when it comes to my mesquite. I keep it the way it is, just the way it is. The savior saint of smoking Joe is against that, so I do not mix my mesquite. But when it comes to the hickory and the apple, I do mix those, and I might do a third. You know, if I'm doing an apple smoke and I want some hickory flavor, it's 2/3 apple, 1/3 of the hickory. But no, when it comes to the rub, it's a fair amount of both.
Thank you.
And I've never said you couldn't mix the mesquite. I think the mesquite's pretty overpowering. I think that's still the only flavor you'll get out of it in a mix. It's the strongest wood that I know of as far as smoke flavor.
Don't lie. We've got tongue lashings in the back room because of that. Now, don't lie because we're on the show. No, I'm just joking. I'm joking.
Well, what you say is not true. I just don't do it in public. All right, let's finish this up. We're using apple wood, and we're doing it at. You're trying to maintain a 225 degree inside the chamber, right?
Yes, sir. I want those bones to just when it's all
So that's
said and
3
done.
hours unwrapped at
And
225. Spritzing is needed, right?
Yes, sir.
What'd you spritz with?
Of course. That time I spritzed with apple cider vinegar, and my wife wanted me to add Dr. Pepper to it. So she helped me a lot with this smoke show. She gave me her pointers, and as a good husband, I ran with it.
Well,
Like
she knew
Mom
what a
can attest to.
Hasselback potato was, so you need to listen to her. She's obviously got some experience in this game.
Damn right. Damn right. So yes, mix of Dr. Pepper and apple cider vinegar.
Was your Dr. Pepper flat?
Yes, actually, I cracked it the night before. Had half a can with my bourbon, and then let that sit until the next morning, and then mixed it in with my apple cider vinegar.
Okay. And folks that are watching, comments are open if anybody wants to make any comments or provide any experience details or tell us we don't know what we're talking about. Comments are open. We'll post them up for all to see and answer any questions that you guys push up. And we'll probably respond to any comment that you throw out there as well. But okay, so we're on there now. You've been spritzing it, and what was the time again? 3 hours or 4 hours at 225?
Yes, 3 solid hours at 225, spritzing every 40 to close to an hour, but mostly every 40 minutes. Just lifting it up, not opening it up to where all the heat comes out. Open real quick, spritz real fast, close it right down, so it doesn't lose a lot of that heat to keep the cooking going.
Okay. So after 3 hours, we're gonna wrap it. Did you render any fat to be poured back on top of this before the wrap?
That is a fact. I have a cast iron skillet. My wife was like, "Here, this might help you," which I was like, "Well, yeah, that would help." So she gave me her cast iron skillet, and all the fat renderings, any of the fat that I trim off if it's too thick or anything on one side, I do put in the skillet, and I do cook in the smoke. And then whenever I lift the spritz, maybe not every time I spritz, but on the second time I spritz, I always take it, lift it, pour the fat all over the ribs, and let that rendering just melt all over top of everything.
But you also do it before you wrap. You pour that across your ribs and then wrap it to contain it, right?
Oh yes, of course. Before you wrap anything, it's definitely got to get a nice spritz and a nice rendering put on top of it before you wrap anything, for sure.
Okay, so there it was, wrapped and rendered. Gets the temperature, remove, rest, and cut and serve. Okay, well, let's take a look at this now. Hold up. It looks like you've got a decent bark going there.
Well, I was just gonna say because at that time I was wondering how much bark would form, and that looks good.
Yeah, Jason,
Yeah, I've gotten really
Big
good
Ron, what do
with
y'all
the
think about
bark
that bark?
development.
Very barky.
Go ahead, Joe.
No, it looks good. Very barky. Was that a St. Louis cut? I missed the beginning.
I'm not
yes,
sure what.
actually. Yeah,
So
I
that's
did a Go ahead, Joe.
No, go ahead. I'm just trying to cover some dead time. Go ahead.
No, it's the same. I did a half of a brisket this weekend. My my stepdad, who's an Army vet, got his approval and totally fully retired. So his buddy threw him a dinner, but then I wanted to throw him something extra. So we did a brisket this weekend, and the same type of spritz I used, and also rendered fat. And I have gotten pretty dang good on making that bark. I got to tell you that. And and yes, even though the ribs were on a short amount of time, um, a nice sugary coat, like we've mentioned many times on many shows, that if you use a nice sugary coat, some brown sugar, a flat soda, apple cider. It will help with that bark, even on a short period of time. And yeah, it came out fantastic. And like I said, my wife says my ribs are the number one thing. I honestly wish she would say my brisket, but hey, it is what it is. But
Well,
yeah,
I think that
so
looks
for my
really good,
ribs.
Vet. You got me? Can you hear me?
Gotcha.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, we
All right.
got you.
Yeah, that looks really good, Vet. I like the color. You got some juices still puddling there, so there's still juice inside the ribs themselves. Good color on that cut. I'm very impressed with that. Very impressed. Sorry, I was outside actually tending to my grill while we're doing the show.
Damn it. Yeah, but I think these ribs look pretty good. You got a good bark, good color on there, and you say they were how tender were they? I see. I don't know if you cut it with a fork or you're just like doing some propping right there with that fork in there, like you cut it. But did you cut those ribs with a fork?
Oh no! I literally just used it to prop it up, like you said, man. No, those ribs were just pick up from the end of the bone and pull, and that was it. So no, they were fantastic. Um, Tenders all get out, and that's how you want it. You know, you want to be able to just grab on that tip of that bone, pull, and it just comes straight out. So
Yeah, that's what she said.
it was great.
So I'll tell you what, a little bit of a teaser for a future smoke show coming up for those of you that are out there. We were talking about a mustard rub, and there may or may not be some brisket coming up that was done with a spicy mustard rub in the face.
Well, I'm curious to see that. I've never used mustard. I know there's a lot of people that will swear by it, but I've never used it, so I'm curious.
I've used mustard. I've used mayonnaise. I've used a couple of different binders. I think I prefer the mustard over all of them. It gives it a good flavor. I think that vinegar really helps break a lot of stuff down. I don't know how a lot of people feel about vinegar, but I also like the spicy mustard and more of a freshly ground mustard that still has a lot of the mustard seeds in it.
So we're talking like Grey Poupon, that coarse mustard.
I prefer Boar's Head. I'm not a real big fan of Grey Poupon. But I use the Boar's Head, and Boar's Head has two different times. They have a German spicy mustard, which I love on my hot dogs, but they've got another one, which is a coarse ground mustard, which is phenomenal, and it works really great.
And how can you not be in favor of Grey Poupon? Just say that name a couple times. Just rolls off the tongue.
I remember one.
What the
Go
fuck
ahead,
is
Jim.
a poupon? What's a poupon?
It's like a French mustard. It's kind of coarse, a little stronger, I think.
I think it's got a little more horseradish in it, honestly, Bruce.
I think you're right. Yeah, and it's just not that bright yellow mustard, like American mustard.
But we used
Well,
on
it's the first time
Vet's
I've used
smoke,
yellow mustard.
we've used yellow mustard on this. So Big Ron, you're going to use a more coarse.
Yeah, I'm
European mustard?
gonna use a spicy mustard. It's more coarse, it's spicy. I think it gave it a really, really good flavor. In fact, it was good enough for me that I think I may start doing my brisket from now on with this spicy mustard as the binder. I really like the way it came out.
Really?
Okay. Yeah, I don't know about I'm making some sort of commitment. This is how we'll always do it in the future. But I guess if you feel that strongly about it, we could do that.
To be more specific, I use Golden's spicy mustard is what I used on the rib or the brisket as I'm looking at the pictures now.
See, I was wondering about the spicy mustard because my wife was like, "Are you going to use the regular mustard on the ribs or the spicy?" And I was like, "I'll go regular." So I'm waiting to see on that, man, because I wouldn't mind doing one with a spicy mustard.
All right, I want good videos, pictures, and instructions. I'd like to put that together. But I tell you what, let's move along to Jason. Jason's done some unique ones here lately, guys. I'm going to give the man some credit. Some that I wasn't sure about. We did chicken fried bacon last week. Wasn't real sure about that, but it turned out that much better than I thought it would. I thought it honestly would be a complete failure. Jason did say that it was probably too rich for you to sit down and kind of eat it as a snack or like as a side dish. But after looking at that and thinking about what you could do with it, I think if you could make that and then finally chop it for toppings on baked potatoes, as an addition to anything that you would add bacon to, maybe even on a hamburger. So I'm not throwing out the chicken fried steak or chicken fried bacon or chicken fried steak bacon. Um, I would throw that out. I think that's could be a great side dish. Maybe not as a premier dish, but a great side dish. But this week we're talking about, and we've got Ed Farmer with us. Great, good timing, Ed. We're about to go over a smoked meatball sandwich, smoked meatball slider by Jason. But this one too, Jason, is a very interesting one that I'm kind of surprised it turned out the way it did because it does look pretty good. But let's take a look at it. This is meatball sliders by Jason. Okay, that's a little bit of a list, so I'm going to pause it there. So we're using the King's Hawaiian sweet rolls. You know, that's a standard little Hawaiian little square roll that you buy in a bag, right?
Yep. 2 packs of them, 12 each.
2 packs of them. So we got 24 rolls, 20 slices of mozzarella cheese, 24 ounces of marinara sauce, I guess jarred sauce, right?
Correct, whatever brand you want to choose.
Whatever your flavor is. Yep. 2 pounds of ground beef, 80-20. I like the mix there. I think that's more flavorful than even more lean meat. 1 pound of sweet Italian sausage. 1 cup of Italian breadcrumbs. I'm sorry, half a cup of Italian breadcrumbs, half a cup of grated Parmesan cheese, 2 tablespoons of seasoning, half a cup of whole milk, 2 beaten eggs, and garlic butter. So that's our whole list to get started, right?
Yeah, and it really isn't that expensive, to be honest with you. It makes a lot of food, and it's this was one of the easiest, I think, things I put together. To be honest, it went quick.
Jason, you had me at the King Hawaiian sweet rolls, buddy. That's all you had to say, and I'm in for the rest of it.
Oh,
But y'all don't know how this turned. Y'all don't know how this turned out. It could have been a disaster. Let's watch the video and see.
And it can't be a disaster. Now with
It
King
could have been a
Hawaiian rolls,
disaster,
man,
Vet. It could have absolutely been a disaster. I absolutely could have been. And
See,
with
I'm
my
the exact
editing,
opposite on that. I don't like King Hawaiian.
I'm the editor here. I can almost make anything happen. You don't know what I've done. Let's go. So there's our ingredients. Let's take a look at this. Go back a little bit there. Okay, so we've got garlic butter. We've got a couple of eggs. That Johnsonville, I guess that is sweet Italian sausage. 2 pounds of ground beef, 80-20. Of course, the King's Hawaiian sweetbreads. Milk and what is that? Victoria marinara sauce, jarred sauce.
Yeah, and the store I went to first, if you look, it was Village Hearth. My wife said, well, they don't sell Hawaiian, so I had to go back to the store to get the Hawaiian rolls. But yeah, and the other thing that's not in here is the seasoning, which is obviously starts with an M.
And ends with a church.
Correct.
I think you sent that in when we do the meat ingredients. It's in here. Let's take a look. So with the ground beef, sausage, breadcrumbs, cheese, seasoning, and milk and eggs. And you roll 24 little balls out of it. Okay, here we go. Here's our meat church scene. And there's your one I haven't seen before. Garlic and herb.
Yeah, I actually put that on most of my steaks. If you ever want to do a prime rib, it's a very fine powder. You can load it up, and it really adds that flavor to it. But those were the 2 seasonings I used in this one.
And then you put breadcrumbs into the meat as well, right? Is that to give it some binder, or what's the purpose of putting bread in your meat?
It binds it up. When you put the eggs in there and the breadcrumbs, it makes the meatballs form.
Okay, so you put all these ingredients in a bowl. I believe we've got a picture of that even. So there it is. Now, what is that? What's the cheese on top of that?
That's the Parmesan, the shredded Parmesan, and then you get your hands dirty and you just toss that up and mix it up real good, and then you go make your meatballs.
Now you get your hands dirty before you toss the meatballs, or while you're tossing the meatballs.
That sucks. I'm not going to comment on that one.
Yeah, we shouldn't comment on that. So we're going to get to our smoker to 275, right?
Yep.
Put them on a baking sheet and go into their 165 internal. So just like you would smoke or cook anything, right?
Pretty much.
How long did it take? How long did it take to get the meatballs to that internal?
So the original recipe called it for a 400-degree cook, and I wanted to get more smoke infused into the meatballs. So I went lower, and it took about, I want to say about an hour or so, hour and a half to get up to 165.
That's not bad. It's not a long cook at all.
No.
And probably some decent time for porous hamburger meat or ground meats to be able to absorb some smoke. Okay. There they are on the grill. They're just about done there, aren't they, Jason?
Yeah, that's about where I'm pulling them off.
Okay. Those look good. I'll give them that. Okay, so now we're gonna melt the garlic butter. Sorry, bad response times here. So we're gonna melt the garlic butter, cut the King's wine buns in half, and just put the tops to the side, right? So you're gonna build your meatball sandwiches like that with that, or like this?
Yep. Cut them in half. Put the bottom side down. Put the top half to the side. Melt the butter. You can make your own garlic butter. I didn't want to do that. I bought garlic butter, and then just build your sandwich.
I thought this was interesting. You're going to place 5 slices of mozzarella cheese on each of the 10 rolls. You're going to place a meatball on each slice of cheese and top it with marinara, and then place another piece of mozzarella on top of it, and then you put the bread on top of the last piece of mozzarella. Yeah.
Pretty much, you start at the bottom and work your way up. Cheese, meat, cheese.
A lot of cheese. Any concern with that, or it worked out well?
No, it worked out really well.
I mean, really, who has complained that there's too much cheese on my meatball sub? Okay. There we go. He's spooning on. There's cheese. Okay, the melted garlic butter. You're brushing that on at the end, right? On the tops?
Yep. The one thing to do again, I'd probably brush the underside to it too. But yeah, in this one, I just brushed the top with the garlic butter.
Now, what's this doing for us when you brush the garlic butter on the top and maybe the bottom? Does it give the bread any texture? What happens once you put some heat to it?
It makes it kind of that crispy bun feel. It also adds that garlic flavor to it. That was I would not do this step. That actually really added flavor to it, to the buns.
Does it crisp it up any?
Yes, it did.
Interesting. Okay. So there's one of those section go. You're going to top it with the next one. And there's the garlic butter on it. Does look good. So you've got, when you cut these sliders out, you got one meatball per little square, right?
Correct. It's a slider. It's a small sandwich. Very cheesy. The meatballs, because they're smoked, the flavor in these were phenomenal. I am going to be doing this again multiple times. But
so let's talk about the smoke flavor. Were you able to get enough smoke flavor in just about an hour on the grill?
Yeah, with the meatball, I think ground beef absorbs it really well. So does sausage, and you could taste the smoke. You could also taste the Italian side to things and the cheese. It was good.
So what did you serve this to anyone? Did you just sit down and eat them all yourself?
No, I served it to my wife and my son, who's home, and they all thought it was really good. Very good.
Very good. I'm going to give you this, man. It looks delicious. I would absolutely try this. What does anybody else think about this?
That looks awesome. I actually want to make this.
I like Jason's recipe. I've done smoked meatballs before on the grill, but his recipe looks pretty good. I'm gonna have to try it.
Yeah, you're gonna have to send me that because I wanted to do it just like you did that. Looks great.
Yeah, I'm going with this one. Your Texas chili's a winner. And you know what? Your smoked spaghetti sauce. I'm going to give that. Did you do meatballs in that one, Jason, too?
I did, and I love smoked meatballs. Like I said, even the chili, I was not a fan of chili. I was not a fan of meatballs until I started smoking them. Um, I will say my next week I'm going back to a tri-tip or a steak because getting creative. I want to go back to just some real
Some
smoked
solid
meat.
solid classics.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But I will say of all the ones I've done, chili and this one are my two favorites.
Yeah, you know what? I'll give you that.
You
That
are.
looks delicious. What Vet? Give us your assessment of this.
No, Jason is our wild one, man. He is the experimental one. I'm loving this one, man. This looks just fantastic, honestly. Whenever we create smell-o-vision or anything like that in the future, I hope I'm around because that is fantastic, dude. Want to reach through the screen and just grab me a piece of that. Meatball subs are one
You
of my
should take that video and make it yourself.
I'm going to because meatball subs are one of my favorite, man. And the way you made that, man, phew, man, looks tasty as hell, man. Great job, brother.
The
Bruce
one
Wayne?
thing, I'm sorry, real quick, Joe. If you guys do this, the one thing I made a mistake was I didn't put anything on the bottom of the buns, and the bottom of the buns got a little crispy. They still tasted great, but I think if I would have had that garlic butter or something on the bottom to not make them, so, or maybe even move it up off the direct heat and use your cooling rack to end it, that might have not caused that. But I think there was too much heat coming up on the bottom.
Yeah, you know what? You're right, Jack. I could see where you could over toast the bottom if you got direct heat. But let's talk about that. You're only putting it back in to essentially heat the sauce up, right? Melt the cheese.
Yep, melt cheese, sauce, melt the butter on the top, kind of just crisp everything up. I might
Maybe
have left
maybe
it on
toast
too
the bread a
long.
little bit.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Toast the bread.
Okay. Bruce Wayne, what do you think about this?
No, I think I said my bit. I want to make that. That looks fantastic. Yeah, looks great. I don't know that I've changed anything. Yeah, shoot. I don't even have any questions. I just want to try it.
Boy, I just need to download the video and follow the recipe yourself, right?
Yeah. So, where for viewers, where do they download these? Where's the best way to download that?
Well, this show is available for replay on my timeline. Anybody wants to repost it, it would be available on their timeline. So this show that we're doing is replayable. And give us another couple of weeks. We'll get enough of the bank together, and we'll probably have a location that you can go in and pick individual recipe video versus watching the whole thing. But right now, you'll have to fast forward through it to get to the video. The way we're set up now, but we're working on something for that in the future.
Yeah, that'd be great. We have like playlists. Like, I don't know if that we organize them into Italian, smoking, ribs, something like that, or if you just have organize them by episode.
Well,
but
we're going to work on a little bit of a recipe book or a recipe video, maybe both. With these.
Yeah.
But that's why it's cool when you guys give me the submissions, that you give me the instructions, the ingredients, and so that I can put together a video that says, this is, if you want to recreate it, this is how to do it. But Big Ron, are you down with these meatball subs, or is that not Floridian enough for you?
Oh, no, I'm 100% down with these things, man. Those look great.
Let's go to Ed. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I'm just not a big fan of the Hawaiian bread. I think it's too sweet.
What about just regular dinner rolls?
Yeah, I think dinner rolls would be good, or even some hard Italian bread. Do a full size one. Maybe throw some pepperoncini on there. Oh yeah.
I thought I knew you, Ron. I thought I knew you, man. I'm just playing.
Hey, yeah, Sister Sheba, yeast rolls would be good.
You know what? I bet yeast rolls would be good. Let's go to Ed. Ed, I know you've been having some connection issues. Were you able to catch Jason's recipe? Were you able to catch Jason's recipe?
I did catch that.
What do you think about that? Because you smoke, you do some crazy smoking of some stuff too. You and I have had some conversations and stuff that
it looked good. I've never smoked meatballs before, but I will try that now. I've done the meatloaf, and of course I sent you a picture of a lasagna that I was putting in the smoker and everything. That's been back in the spring that I did that, but I found that I came across that picture when I was looking through some others, and I'm like, oh yeah, I got to send that to them.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that smoked lasagna. But you know what? We've got about 10 minutes, and I want to give this homemade dog food segment enough time because this is interesting. Now, Ed, you and I were talking. It may have been in a space or it could have been a DM. I don't recall now. But you said that, I think you said I'm in the middle of making or slow roasting a roast to make dog food now. And we kind of talked about the recipe. And how many dogs do you have?
5. These are
And you
English
said,
bulldogs, and I feed them a cup of this each every morning and every evening. So there's 10 cups every day that I serve out, and so I make enough to last 3.5, 4 days.
And
and
that's a full-time
what,
job.
what's your cost on that when you make it like this? Is it more expensive to make your dog's homemade food?
It's cheaper than canned food. Canned food that they would eat is running $3 and up per can, and you figure each one would eat a can. So there's 10 cans a day that I'm looking at. So there's
How's that compare to kibble?
I pay. I don't remember if it's 20 or 30 pounds, but I pay close to right at $50 for a bag.
Yep. That's about well, my old dog, she eats an $80 for 25 pounds. My pup isn't as sensitive, so he eats about $54 for the grain free Taste the Wild. And it'll last them all month, but it's expensive.
And Ed, what do you think your dog food bill is using this homemade recipe per month? Just ballpark it. You still
Got you
with us,
there,
Ed?
Ed.
Did we lose Ed?
And we may have.
Can't hear you, my friend, if you're talking.
But I believe what he was saying, at least last time we were talking, I think he was saying that the way he makes it comes in even cheaper than just dry kibble, which sounds like a great selling point for me.
No, absolutely. We're going to give him a chance to fix his audio or his connection, but let's go to his video.
You hear?
Yeah, we got you, Ed. We're watching your video now.
Okay. I got out of. I had to get off my Bluetooth headset. It keeps going out.
Yeah.
But,
okay.
Yeah. This bill, the roast is the most expensive. I try to get between 3 and 4 pounds. Just whatever roast is on sale. The cheapest. I shop Food City around here, and I usually catch them at $4.99 a pound, and get one like that. So it's usually less than $15. And then the vegetables, they're not that expensive. We have an Aldi store here, and I either shop there or I shop at Food City and buy their frozen vegetables. I was using like the cuts of broccoli or small florets, a bag of frozen carrots, and then green beans. But my dogs are getting to where they got burnt out on green beans like I have. And so I've been doing the California blend. It's carrots, broccoli, and cauliflower. So I've been getting that. The roast, I buy my boxes of rice from Aldi because it's like $3.09 for a 28-ounce box, where if you buy two 14-ounce boxes from the grocery store, it's over $4. So I'm saving there. But I put the roast in the crock pot on high for like 8 hours to get it tender enough to pull. Cook the rice up per directions, and then add the vegetables and stuff. This batch that I sent you the pictures of where I was making it, That's 4 pounds of roast, the 28-ounce box of the rice. There's 6 hard-boiled eggs that I chopped up. There's four 12-ounce bags of the California blend vegetables, and then all that is mixed up, and that's it. I put it into smaller storage containers out of a great big container that I've got, and put it in the refrigerator.
Let me get back to it. I keep hitting the wrong button here, and I keep going to the very beginning of the video. Let's go. Let's see what this looks like. Do you can you use chicken, or is beef the only meat that you use?
Well, I was using chicken, but the problem with that is my dog started losing hair. So I took him to the vet. Well, just one of the dogs at the time was losing fur. Took him over there, and they ran some tests and told me he's allergic to chicken. And since all these dogs are pretty much the same bloodline, I decided I'd just have to eliminate chicken.
So you're strictly a beef guy, but if one's dog could stomach chicken, chicken could be a good substitute or mix in with as well.
Right. Or you can, I was running chicken all the time because we were getting it cheap, for the boneless, skinless chicken breast. But after feeding them that for so many times, they started developing these skin issues. So I switched over to beef. Every now and then I will do chicken, just maybe once every other month. I have done turkey, and I have also done ground lamb, because I can buy packs of ground lamb, a little pound of that, and I get 2 of those packs, and I'll brown it up in a skillet instead of using a crock pot.
So let's talk about the meat. Do you cook it all the way? Is it well done, or do you leave it a little raw?
It is well done. I cook it in the crock pot with some water. I cover the meat with the water and then put it on high for 8 hours. So it's done, and it pulls real easy.
Okay. So, folks, what we got there, you're looking at, that is the brown rice that's cooked. These are Ed Farmer's submissions. So now we're going to cook the vegetable mix, boil eggs, and combine with rice and beef. So there's our beef on top of our rice. The boiled eggs on top of the beef and the rice. The vegetables on top of the hard-boiled eggs, beef, and rice. And that's what the dogs get. That's what it looks like right there, right? Looks like it looks like some Chinese fried rice.
Yeah,
it looks like something I'd eat.
Yeah, and that's the thing about it. If you don't have anything else and you're just hungry for a little bite, you can dip it out and heat it up for yourself, because it's all human grade ingredients.
Do you notice a difference in your dogs? Do they seem to fare well on this?
Oh, they're doing very well on it. They love it.
Well, folks, there it is. You've seen it here. Ed Farmer's given us homemade dog food recipe, and it doesn't look complicated. And Ed, how often do you have? You say you have to do that? What, about once a week?
Usually about that batch will probably last 3.5 to 4 days. So before I'm completely out, I go ahead and start the next batch. What I'll do is, since I stay up to like 2 o'clock in the morning after work, so a lot of times I'll put the roast in the crock pot before I leave for work, and then it's done whenever I come home. And other times, like on weekends and stuff like that, I'll put it on at night and fix it in the morning.
Okay. Could you make this up in bulk? Like if somebody wanted to do it on a Saturday, do triple or quadruple the recipe? Could you freeze some of it?
Oh yeah, that's very easily done.
Now, what do you do with the vegetables? Do you steam them? You boil them? And
I buy the bags of them that are already pre-mixed up and they're frozen. And what I do is I just put them in the microwave for like 6 minutes, and that pretty much steams them.
Okay. And do you mash them at all, or you just serve them whole?
Well, they're great big pieces. I go ahead and chop them up. It's like these. Some of the carrots were about the size of a $half, the old style $half, and then some of the slices were about the size of a quarter. So I just and of course they've got big clusters of broccoli and cauliflower. So I went ahead and chopped them up like I did the egg, but not quite as fine as that.
Gotcha. Okay. That's not too complicated. I like it.
Yeah,
You
it
just got,
seems to be
got
very
dog.
simple.
If you just got like one or two dogs, you can do a smaller roast and kind of do the vegetables in proportion to that. But what I would do is, most dogs like green beans. It's just mine have been fed so many green beans between me and the wife, because we give them some off our plate, and they just kind of get burnt out on it.
Okay, so I mean, you can play with the mix a little bit. You like the rice? Is rice a good filler?
It is, but not white rice. White rice is not healthy for dogs. The brown rice is.
Interesting. Didn't know that. So the brown rice is a good fit for the dogs, but white rice is not good for them. They don't digest it very well.
I'm not sure exactly on that, but the vet told me not to use white rice because I was talking to them about this, and they said, okay, you are using brown rice, right? And I said, yes. They said, good, because white rice is not good for dogs. So I'm like, okay, well, maybe not in a larger portion, but occasionally, I guess it wouldn't hurt them. And of course, they don't digest corn. They can eat it, but it comes out, ready to plant in the ground again.
Well,
but I've done the mixed vegetables with the peas, carrots, and corn before, and they were fine with that. And they've got some that's got the green beans in it. It don't have as many green beans, so they'd probably be okay with that. But you can play around with the recipes and stuff like that. Like I said, they do like cauliflower. It's kind of like a potato to them. They love the broccoli, and of course the carrots. They're good for dogs also.
so your dogs aren't leaving some behind. They're tearing it up, eating it,
Oh
licking
yeah,
the bowl. Okay.
yeah. I mean, I do put some kibble in there. We were using Purina 1, and I was using the chicken and rice, and of course I had to get away from that, and I just decided to switch up another brand because they got to where they wouldn't eat the beef Purina 1. So I tried the pedigree beef with vegetables, and they do like it, but they just get like a cup of that in the bowl first, and then I put a cup of this food in there and mix it around. And if they're kind of acting a little finicky or something like that, I might add like a little handful of shredded cheddar cheese. They love that as well.
Yeah, your dogs don't have you wrapped around your finger at all. Folks, we're about at the end, but I want to give Vet, Jason, and Big Ron a chance to say something about this. Well, Vet's gone. Jason, what do you think about this dog food recipe?
I like it. My dog, unfortunately, will only eat fish-based stuff. Otherwise, he gets allergic. So we do. I think it's Call the Wild or whatever it's called. But it's a fish base. So I could see doing that and throwing some fish in there for the meat in a crock pot.
Yep.
That's not a horrible idea. Big Ron, what do you think?
I actually didn't know that white rice was bad for dogs, so I just learned something on that, Ed. We do the same thing. We've only got one dog left now. Our other one, she went ahead and left us, so we've only got one dog now, and we make all of her food. I'm actually got some stuff on the grill for her right now. But yeah, this is a great idea. Like I said, we do kind of the same thing. We do ground beef or pork. We'll throw some frozen vegetables in with it, drain all the fats out of it. But yeah, now that I know about the rice, I'll definitely make sure that they're not using white rice or using a brown rice on that. So I appreciate that. I'm gonna try this recipe.
All right.
But I'll tell you what, folks. What I've learned from Ed Farmer when we did our smoke show on Wednesday night, he was just getting off work when we started the after party. But we're gonna have to make sure Ed's in here as a regular basis. He has some very interesting. Some smoked spam came from him. I think he had some smoked macaroni that was looking pretty good, but Ed ain't scared, and he knows his way around a smoker. Ed's not scared to try something like we are, so he's definitely one of the boys in this group. But guys, that's our show. Catch us next weekend Sunday. We'll have a whole batch of new recipes. This week coming up on Night Court, we've got some excellent shows. We'll have Dr. Kirk. He's the doctor out of Utah that's under federal charges now for destruction of COVID vaccines because he didn't give COVID vaccines to patients that didn't want them. So very interesting show on Thursday night, excuse me. Wednesday, we're going to have the old-fashioned debate back again, the 2A debate. This time it's between a gentleman on X named Truth and our friend, you are a smart-ass, Carl. We're going to debate the Dexter Taylor case. Truth posted some posts up saying that Dexter was a criminal and is getting what he deserved. And you can imagine there's a lot of folks that are in our circles that we don't quite feel that way. So we're going to put them up on stage and see how they bash it out. Monday and Tuesday, I can't announce what they are just yet. Still working on some final confirmations, but we've got some great shows coming up this week. Don't miss out on those. Catch us, and of course our Friday night police video review show is always a hit. But that's it, folks. Catch us for an after party in about maybe 15 minutes. We'll see if we can't get one kicked up, and we'll do a short one tonight. Thanks.
All right. Good night.
Get any money from Meyer Lansky?
I never got money from any of those fellas.
None of those
fellas. None of these that I've been reading about, or none that I knew. They never gave me anything.
None of the Fichettes?
No.
You
I
did?
don't even speak to the... I mean, I met that Charlie once or twice. I don't even talk to him.
You don't like him?
No.
You're also known as Duck Corella.
I refuse to answer on the grounds of made intent to
You
criminate.
got any business?
I refuse to answer on the grounds of intent to criminate.
You have any profession?
I refuse to answer on the grounds of made
You
intent
have
to
any
criminate.
occupation?
I refuse.